Alright, it's, I'm doing stories out of Michigan, seems like. There's been a couple already. But, as we keep, looking over all the things going on in Michigan, one of the biggest things to me is the MiLegalize situation. I mean, that's not the biggest thing going on in Michigan. I mean, we got the Flint water crisis 6 miles away from me. We got, just all kinds of shit. We got the former lobbyist for BP is now the head of the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. We have just corruption from top to bottom in this Republican supermajority government that runs the state. Somehow we're a blue state. We vote for Democrats when the presidential elections come around, but after that everybody goes back to sleep and the Republicans take over. The mega churches empty out and they all go vote like it's part of their religion. Well, medical marijuana is again on the back burner because recreational marijuana is on the front of everybody's mind in Michigan. Like, what about us? I thought we had a bunch of people out there, like 4 different organizations canvassing, trying to get signatures to get this on the ballot, and nobody did. Wow, they're a bunch of lazy stoners, right? No. It isn't us. I was out there in the trenches getting signatures. I'd go to I went to the Trailer Park Boys show at the Masonic Temple in Detroit and worked the lines and got signatures. I went to the Renaissance Festival, worked the lines, got signatures. All my friends signed it. My family, everybody I could get. Everybody wants this. Even Republicans and Libertarians and right-wing Nazis that burn crosses and shit. I don't care who you are or what your political affiliation is. Everybody would love to see MiLegalize pass. And the problem is, it isn't us. All right, we were only supposed to get like 240,000 signatures or something like that. We ended up getting 354,000 signatures. But the board claimed that 137,000 of them didn't meet requirements to get, didn't meet their requirements. And the only requirement that they have is this weird law where you only get 180 days to get signatures. So, let's see. The Board of State Canvassers rejected recreational cannabis petition with a 4-0 vote. Wow. And that's supposed to be a bipartisan committee. They sit there with, equal Republicans and Democrats, but they're all corrupt and they all are trying to work the medical marijuana thing into some kind of thing where they can make money off of it. If you look at the legislative history in Michigan, Republicans and Democrats alike are trying to pass their own medical marijuana law to take over the law that the people passed, and they're also trying to preemptive MiLegalize by making their own laws, which very well may pass in the next session in 2017. Who knows? And if that happens, it's just going to be a corporate giveaway and it's going to suck. And it probably will take medical marijuana down with it. But anyway, we collected 354,000 signatures, and they're trying to scratch almost half of them. So they're saying that this 180-day rule that is ridiculous. There's so many reasons why it shouldn't apply to this. But their 180-day rule, when you turn in your signatures, anything past that is stale. You'll find out about why they call it stale later. Alright, since January, the statewide group of cannabis activists have been stating in testimony at hearings in Lansing and through various announcements that it is unconstitutional and against the law to require that all signatures be gathered in 180 days of being submitted. It's an undue burden, at the very least. But to justify that, you're going to have to jump through some hoops, and they don't really do that. The group claims that the 180-day limit on signatures was created to ensure that those signing petitions are currently registered voters within the state of Michigan. That's not hard to prove. So we got all these signatures, and we can prove based on their own records that they're all still good. And we're telling them that, and we can prove that. But they're still not listening. And they didn't listen on time, as you're going to real quick, you'll find all this out. The leaders of MiLegalize are now going to use the state's records to show signatures still met this requirement regardless of the date they were received. This is an election year, man. Not a whole lot of people change much, and if they do, they changed it before they had to vote. A lot of these signatures were grabbed up before the primaries in Michigan back in May. This 180-day limit was also first enacted in regards to ballot questions that aim to change the state's constitution. Like in Florida, their medical marijuana law, they're trying to make it an amendment to the constitution of the state. MiLegalize doesn't do that. It's just a law. It just sets precedences and guidelines to legalize marijuana and tax it and regulate it, as well as hemp, which is really awesome. But anyway, let's get back here. Since we weren't trying to change the Constitution, it shouldn't apply to us. Several petition groups, not just MiLegalize, say that the 180-day limit disallows grassroots groups the opportunity to get policies on the ballot. Many petition groups like cannabis and the environmental groups like the ban fracking, the tax the rich group, and many others, as well as the other marijuana legalization groups, rely on unpaid volunteers, making it the task to obtain signatures is far more difficult. Not only that, but if you don't have a good method of raising money to do your campaign, you can't even get copies of your petition to certain places where you could possibly get a lot of signatures. The 180-day requirement used to be a policy that wasn't regularly enacted by the state election boards. However, Governor Rick Snyder just signed this requirement into law on June 8th, immediately following the ruling against the signatures in question by the Board of State Canvassers. But Rick Snyder has many other reasons to enact this, to turn this 180-day requirement into a strict law that they're going to make sure is a part of the regimen of the Board of State Canvassers. Every time canvasses come in, petitions come in, they're going to scrutinize them on this 180-day thing right out of the gate. I mean, that's insanity. Rick Snyder is insanity all around. How is this guy still sitting in the governor's mansion? What is going on? Why isn't there people with pitchforks and torches burning this shit to the ground in Lansing? Anyway, Snyder defended his controversial new bill in a news release, saying, establishing reasonable time limits on when signatures can be collected helps ensure the issues that make the ballot are the ones that matter the most to Michiganders. This is the thing that matters the most to Michiganders. It's polling in the 70s. When I went out to canvass, people were dying to see marijuana taxed and regulated, and sick of seeing their family members and friends go to jail over a plant. Marijuana isn't the scourge in the community that everybody's reeling from. That would be opiates and the pills and all these other things that the right-wing government lets flourish. So the lawsuit filed by MiLegalize claims that the old policy and new versions of the law are both unconstitutional. The group filed the lawsuit in the Michigan's Court of Claims and appears optimistic for its success. As one board member of MiLegalize, Deborah Young, shared to an email to supporters, "We have filed and we will prevail." And then recently, last week, this is about a month old, last week they said, there's still hope, there's still a chance. Not so, says the Board of Canvassing. Not so, says anybody. The court that they sued them in and everybody else has already basically said, what are you guys wasting your time for? Didn't you know that there was this other rule that you forgot about? The 40-day waiting period before it can be placed on the ballot once it's approved. What? I am about to lose my mind, man. Are you serious? When they hammer these things out, September 9th, when can this court make a decision? Anytime between now and September 9th? How much time does that give us? Like 3 or 4 weeks or something? This is just this is an atrocious situation. But what it really is it's when you got a right-wing government in your state that runs everything. They got the Congress, they got the Senate, they got the Supreme Court, they got all the judiciary below the Supreme Court, they got the governor's mansion, they got super majorities everywhere, so all they got to do is breathe and it becomes law. So September 9th is the last day that they're going to be actually, hammering out, printing out ballots. Rick Snyder says, well, we got to limit that because you don't want someone to go in the voting booth and all of a sudden the ballot thing is like 30 pages long. Well, I remember when I went in there in 2014 or 2012, and it was like that. And you know what? None of that crap was something that we put on the ballot to get passed. It was all just garbage. It was weird activists that were highly connected to corrupt government lobbyists trying to pass stuff that nobody understood. I mean, it was like paragraph after paragraph of legal terms and paragraphs that just confused you with, dualities, so that you didn't really know what the thing even meant. They can do that, but we can't even put down something that 350,000 people signed a petition to get on the ballot. Somehow we're not on there. And last but not least, on September 24th is when absentee ballots have to be mailed in. Have to be mailed in. So if you don't live in Michigan, you still don't get to see the debates on what's going on to make your decision between September 24th and November 17th, I think it is, or what? November. Excuse me for not remembering what day we go vote this year, but November. That's a long time, man. That's over a month. So absentee ballots have to be mailed in over a month before you actually can vote. I don't get that, but that's partially the reason why 40 days from even right now, you're going to be cutting it really close to that deadline. I don't think you got it. I think you're going to be real close and not have it. Nope, you're missing that. If there's a 40-day window, right now is too late to print the ballots for that. Unbelievable. That's gonna do it for today. Maybe, I don't know. I'm still feeling like I need to say something about something, but in Michigan there's a lot of stories going on in marijuana. There's a lot of stories going on in lead poisoned water. There's a lot of stories going on in schools that have fungus growing out of the walls, teachers not getting paid enough, people getting thrown out of the street in gentrification. There's a lot of battles to be fought. But one of the most atrocious ones is that 180-day rule and the emergency manager rule and all the other bullshit that blew in with Rick Snyder's administration. We gotta change this Michigan landscape. Everybody go vote the Republicans out. Bye.